Hello and welcome to the webinar. My name is Jim Callback. I'm the head of customer success at Mural, and I'm joined by my colleague Amelia. We're going to give you a brief overview and demo of Mural today. I'll start by giving you a demonstration of some of the basic features and functionalities, how to use Mural, and then I'll show some examples and use cases. And at the end, we'll take your questions. So if you have any questions, enter them in the questions pane of your webinar software. You should be able to type a question there, and we'll answer them as we go or when we take a break at the end. So let's get started. Right now, what you're seeing is a mural. I'm in a mural, and you see it's a blank canvas. When you start a new mural, it's blank. You can think about Mural like a canvas, a board, a whiteboard in your browser. And what you do then, so you have this large space. You can see here I'm moving my mouse. You have this large space that you can add content to. You add content with the options in the left-hand toolbar. The top one is a collection of text elements. You can see here I can put a header in here, and we'll just do a quick brainstorming session here for you. How might we make remote teams feel closer? So let's say we want to brainstorm on that topic right there. What I can then do is drag out a sticky note, that's another text element here, and say we can have happy hour at the same time. Or we could have the same flowers in the offices. In the different offices. So you can see here you drag out a sticky note, and when you double click on it or hit enter, you can actually then edit the text. If you single click on it, you have a range of options here, so a menu of options at the top that you can change the properties. So I can make a sticky note a different color. I can change the font size and the font type and that kind of thing. So any element that you put down onto a mural is configurable, and you can do that right in the mural with this set of options at the top. There are also some arrows and shapes that you can use as well too if you want to connect two ideas together, for instance, and these stick together so you can create a kind of flow diagram or mind map using the arrow shape, for instance. There's also a circle and a square. You'll also find some stickers, we call them, or icons, where you can put a thumbs up or a check mark on here that adds a qualitative layer of information. There's also an image search as well too. This is an integrated image search. If I type in a keyword here and then hit enter, it'll search the web. These are just simple web searches. These are images on the web. It's not searching through your computer or a library that we own. It's just some web images. But I drag those out into the mural as well too. So mural is not just a place to get your thoughts out in text, it's also multimedial. I can even, if I want to, I can even drag a PDF, for instance. I'm going to upload a PDF simply by dragging it from my desktop into the browser. So I can put this PDF document right into the mural as well too. So again, Mural is a large board that you can add content to in different formats. You can add sticky notes and text elements, lines, arrows. You can add images, documents. I can even put in a link from the web. So if I had a URL, I can cut and paste that URL right into Mural. Let me just show you how that works. I'm just going to open up a new tab here in my browser. So we have this YouTube video here. I can take the URL, and I'm just going to use Control-C. So I copied the URL from this tab or this browser, and I'm going to go back over to the mural, and then I'm going to click on the background and do Control-V for paste. And what it does is it pulls in a thumbnail image from that website as well as some metadata, that's the leading text on the page, and it's linked as well too. So I've now linked to this YouTube video. If I click on a YouTube video, it'll actually play back right in the mural. So you can see it plays back right in the mural. So Mural is a place to get all of your thoughts out remotely, digitally, on a large whiteboard in your browser. Organize them, use different colors and formatting properties to arrange them the way that you want. You have complete control. You can also add images, PDFs, and other multimedia in here as well too. But you'll notice its mural is also a place for collaboration as well. So you might have seen my colleague Amelia's mouse cursor there. We broadcast the cursors of other people in the mural. So a mural, you can think about it like a cloud-based application, a cloud-based document that multiple people can be in at the same time. And I know that Amelia is in this mural. If I look down in the center bottom, you can see here's my avatar and here's Amelia's avatar. I can also see her mouse because she's broadcasting the cursor. Anything that Amelia brings into the mural, I now have access to as well too. So she uploaded some of these images. I can grab this image that she added and move it around. So it's a cloud-based document system. Mural is a cloud-based system for sharing and collaborating, both in real time and asynchronously. So you can see here together, even though we're on different continents, Amelia and I are able to brainstorm around this topic. We're able to arrange our thoughts and talk about them. Mural does not come with audio and video capabilities, so if you are going to work in real time, you'll need to use Skype or WebEx or something similar, or even just a telephone to connect via audio. So you use audio, visual, conference calling system. You use that in conjunction with Mural. If you have a meeting and you're taking meeting notes, you can have everybody in a mural at the same time, and that just makes the engagement and the session so much more dynamic. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the collaboration features as well too. We have right now everyone has an independent view of the mural. So I can be looking in the upper right while Amelia's in the upper left. For instance, I can move way over here. But I can also follow Amelia. And by that, I click on her avatar, and now I'm actually seeing her viewport. So as she zooms and pans, I can see what she's seeing as well too. Before I show you voting and another collaboration feature on commenting, I did want to take a pause and talk about zooming and panning. You might have noticed that we're moving around this space, so Mural makes use of what's called a zooming user interface, or ZUI. So you get a large single surface in Mural. It's a canvas or a board that you can then navigate around, and you navigate by panning and zooming. Right now, I can pan by grabbing the mural background and moving it to the left or right. It behaves similar to Google Maps if you've ever used Google Maps. So I can see what's over here. I can move up or down. If I move down, and then I can move over here and see what these links are that Amelia added. But I can also zoom in and out as well too. So it's not just left and right and up and down panning, it's also zooming. And I'm going to zoom all the way out now so you can see that we were actually just working in the upper left-hand corner of a mural. A mural is actually quite large. We give you a large virtual space to work in. And to make use of that space, zooming and panning is really key to getting the most out of your mural experience. You'll be doing a lot of it. It's not like a regular document where you find a zoom level, a scale that you can work at, and then you stay there. You actually move around as you interact with the information. You move in and out. You move out to see the big picture, and then you move in to see the detail. And we do recommend that you keep things at the default sticky note size. And by that I mean if I drag out a sticky note from the upper left-hand side, it has a default size. We recommend to keep it at that size and not make it larger. I can make sticky notes larger, but we recommend to work at the default sticky note size so that you get the most out of the mural in terms of space. But when you zoom out, you won't be able to read the sticky notes anymore. So I'm zoomed all the way out right now, and I can't read these sticky notes here in the upper left. If I want to see what they say, I need to zoom in. So instead of bringing the information to you, and by that I mean resizing it, I could resize the sticky note so that I could read it. You move towards the information to be able to see it, and I can even zoom close up, so I can get a close-up view of this image if I wanted to, make it a little larger, see the detail. All the images are high resolution as well too. So if you have images, you can zoom right in and see the detail. So zooming and panning is really key to getting the most out of your mural experience. And you'll see here in the lower right-hand side as well too, we have what's called the Minimap. So I just wanted to direct your attention to the lower right over here. The Minimap actually shows an outline of the mural, and it shows where the collaborators are looking at the mural with those colored overlays. So you can see here I have this blue or purplish box that represents what I'm seeing right now, and as I zoom in and out, that grows or shrinks accordingly. And I can navigate by this as well too. I can drag this box around and it moves my viewport around as well. And there's a plus or minus sign here, and that's another way to zoom. So we have multiple ways to zoom. You can either use you can use the controls here in the lower right, or in my case, I'm actually using my mouse right now, and I'm using the scroll wheel. So when I use the scroll wheel, I move in and out. So I'm just zooming right now. I'll just do that quickly a couple times. I can go in and out really quickly. And I pan by grabbing the mural background. So I left click and then hold it, and I pan left or right. There's another mode of interaction, and you can find that here in your account settings. And I'm just going to go there to account settings and then controls. So go to account settings, controls, and you'll see here there are two different modes of navigating a mural with your hardware. I was in mouse mode using my mouse to pan and zoom with the mouse, but there's also a trackpad mode. If you do have a laptop, particularly Macs work very well. You can pan with 2 fingers and pinch to zoom, and that's very fluid if you switch to trackpad mode. I'm not going to do that right now because I don't have a laptop, so I'll stay in mouse mode. But we do recommend that you find a mode of navigation that works best for you and that you learn how to navigate a mural very quickly, zooming in and out as quickly as possible. Again, in the lower right, there's the Minimap that shows you orientation and also some navigation controls there too. We also have a lot of shortcuts in Mural, so if you do Control plus and Control minus, you will zoom and pan as well too, so that's a third way to zoom in and out as well too. And you can see all of the keyboard shortcuts that we have simply by typing a question mark at any point in the mural. And you'll see here I talked about Control C for copying a URL and Control V for paste. There's also Control Z for undo. So some of the familiar keyboard commands that you might use in other applications we've built into Mural as well too. And you can see all of those simply by typing the question mark here as well too. So again, Mural is a large canvas or a board in your browser that you can add content to. You collaborate with others. So here again in the bottom center, I'm collaborating right now with Amelia. I can choose to follow her. And by that, if I click on her avatar, I'll actually be seeing what she's seeing. So I'm not zooming and panning right now. This is her. She's broadcasting her viewport to me. And that's great after you do individual work. So let's say you do some brainstorming session individually, and then you want to share that out to a group of people. Again, you're on a Skype call or a telephone call. You're talking through the content. You can follow each other to make sure you're seeing what they're seeing, and just use that that broadcasting feature there as well too. We also have a voting feature as well too, and I just wanted to quickly demonstrate the voting feature. Here in the upper left, I can start a voting session. I'll just hit Start Voting Session. And as the initiator, I determine how many votes each person gets, and I'll say 3 each. I'm going to start the voting session, and then what happens is everyone who's in a mural at this time will get this invitation to vote, voting session running, gives some instructions on how to vote. Essentially, when you click on any element in the mural, you will cast a vote for that element, and it's a secret ballot or a secret voting session, and at the end we can tally those up and see where our collective attention is. So let's go into the voting session, and I'm just going to vote on some of these ideas that we had earlier. I like having flowers at the same time. You can see here Amelia has some nice colorful ones with drawings. Chief Remote Coach, Touch Portal, Gamification of Workflow. I'll go ahead and vote for that one. Maybe the gift exchange as well too. You can also undo a vote if you make a mistake. You can undo a vote as well too. So at the end of the voting session, you can close the voting session and see the results. So here I just ended the voting session, and the system automatically tallies up the votes. So we can see here 2 people voted for having flowers, and then there was 1 unique voter for these elements as well too. When I close this overlay with the results, I go back to the mural, and then I can see where all of the votes were. So again, 2 people voted for this one over here. So it's a great way to think about the problem space that you're in, get all of your thoughts out, bring in links and documents, and then run a voting session together to see where your collective attention is. You can also comment on elements as well too. And let me just show you that. So I'm going to zoom in on this element here, and if I right-click, you can right-click on any element, and you'll get another menu of options. You can move things to the foreground or background. You can duplicate them. You can lock them as well too. But there's an option here to add a comment. And I'm just going to add a comment here, and I'm going to do I'm going to mention Amelia, and by that I type an @ and then her name, and I'm going to say, how would this work exactly? So I'm typing a question to Amelia, and as soon as I save that, that gets saved to the cloud, and Amelia is able to see my comment on this sticky note here, on the mural, and she's able to go in there and answer that as well too. So again, because it's a cloud-based application, everything is automatically saved to the cloud. It's all secure as well too, and then everyone in the team has access to that information. Again, zooming and panning, very key to your experience, and looking at all of those shortcuts as well. So you can see here, within a short period of time, we were able to collect a great deal of information. Before I pause and take some questions, I just wanted to show one more feature, and that's the cut and paste from a spreadsheet feature. So if I had a list of items that maybe apply to this topic, how might we make remote teams feel closer in a spreadsheet? In this case, I have a Google Doc or a Google spreadsheet. I can actually copy the cells with the text in it here. So I'm just going to do Control-C in my Google Doc, go back over to the mural and do Control-V. And what it does is it takes each one of those cells and it puts it on an individual sticky note. And now I can bring these into the mural and sort them, add them to the rest of the ideas that we started generating. So that's a really quick way to get started. If you have a list in another document, that works as well too. From a list in an email or a Word document, you can copy that list, paste it into the mural, and it'll put them on individual sticky notes. You're also able to do that in reverse. So if I select these sticky notes and hit the copy as text option up here, I can actually then go back and paste that into the spreadsheet, and it will put them in different cells. I'm just going to take a quick pause right now before I show some examples. So that's kind of an overview of Mural and what it can do. And I'd like to show some examples of some completed murals so you can see what might be relevant to your work and how you might use Mural. But I wanted to ask Amelia if there were any questions that we can answer before we go ahead and do that. Do we have any questions, Amelia?
Hi, Jim. Yes, we do.
Hi.
Here we have a question from Sophia. Sophia is wondering, how can I download my murals? Or how can I print them out if I would like to put them on a wall and review with my team during a meeting?
Yeah, great question. Thanks, Sophia. I just talked about copying and pasting from a spreadsheet, and that's one way to get content in and out of a mural. But we also have some download options. And if you go to the Mural Options menu up here in the upper left, right next to the mural name, there's a little arrow, and there's some options here. There are two options that I think are relevant to the question here. One is export as an image. And if I select export as an image, what it will do is download the entire mural as a high-resolution PNG file. That's the file format type, PNG. And then you would be able to include that in other documents. Depending on how much detail you have, when you print it out, it may or may not be the resolution that you need. So we haven't optimized Mural to be printed, but we do see a lot of customers printing their murals from this export as image option. The other thing you can do is download the mural as files, and what that will do is take this HTML, this web-based HTML file, and it'll put it into a zip file with all of the text listed by content type. So it'll take all of the sticky notes, all of the headers, and it will list that in an HTML file. So you'll have the raw text of the mural, and it'll take any images or PDF documents that you have and put them into a separate folder as well too. The other thing that you can do that's even quicker is you can zoom in on an area. Let's say if I just wanted to take these voting results, here are the results from our voting session, and I want to include this in a PowerPoint presentation to show stakeholders or to do a playback or something like that, I can take a screenshot of this. So I do that myself quite a bit. I'll just take a screenshot of a section of the mural and then include that in a presentation or print that out as well too. So there are a couple ways to get the information in a mural out of the mural. Let's take another question, Amelia, if there are any.
Yes, we have a question from Carl as well. He's wondering, how do you make these drawings in the sticky notes?
Yeah, great question. I kind of skipped over that. We got these great drawings in here that Amelia had worked on. But I'll just add a sticky note. And by the way, I forgot to mention, if you double click on the mural, so all you have to do is double click on a mural and you'll get a sticky note. So that's a shortcut to add a sticky note. You don't have to add sticky notes from the left-hand toolbar. We've added the double click option as a shortcut to add sticky notes. But if I add a sticky note here and then single click on that sticky note, so I'm just going to click once on this sticky note, I get a menu of options at the top where I can change the color and change its properties. But there's also a switch to sketch mode here. And this is a different mode. I'm going to go ahead and select that. And you'll see what happens is, let me try that again. Sorry. There we go. What happens is it gives you a little drawing pad here. So now I'm in drawing mode. I'm doing this with my mouse, so it's a little bit difficult. If you have a trackpad, it's a little bit easier sometimes. But you can draw on the sticky note with your mouse, right on a sticky note. You can't draw on the mural background just yet with the web application. So right now what I'm showing you is the web version of Mural. We also have a couple of applications, one for Windows 10 and one for the Microsoft Surface Hub. And we're currently developing our iPad apps. They're in beta right now, our iPad and our iPhone apps. But once those apps come out, we hope to have drawing there as well too. So drawing is a capability right now that's limited to just on a sticky note, but in the near future, we will allow you to draw also on the mural background as well too, if you're using the Windows 10 app or an iPad app. So, you know what I'm going to do, Amelia? I'm going to do a quick poll. What I'd like to do before we move on to the next section is I'd like to ask everybody who's online right now, which situation or need best matches your primary use of Mural? So given what we just talked about and what you knew about Mural before the session, I'd just like to see what people might be using Mural for. So I've just launched a poll. You should see a screen on your screen. If you look on your screen, you should see that question that I just read, what's your primary use of Mural? And there are a couple of options. One is, the first one is for research, market research, maybe design thinking, maybe project planning, agile planning, things like that, or for product and service design, maybe you want to do flow diagrams or put screenshots in there, or maybe you want to use it for development to create specifications and things like that as well too. So go ahead and take that poll, and we'll just take a look at what this group is using Mural for. Every group is different, of course. There we go. So thanks for that. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share those results. So you should be seeing the results now. And I see most people using it for something like user research, recording data, that kind of thing. But a lot of you are using it for design thinking, which is great. I have some design thinking example murals that I'd like to show right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and hide those results. Excellent. So I'm going to show a couple of examples of what you can do with Mural as a team. Again, Mural is a cloud-based application. You can bring in content in different formats, but it's really a collaboration tool. And I want to show some examples of what you can do when you collaborate. So I just switched tabs now, and I'm in a brainstorming example here. Brainstorming is a key use case that we see people using Mural for kind of across the board. Anytime you're working with a group of people and you're remote or you're not sitting next to each other, but you still need that visual type style of interaction, you can use Mural to get all of your thoughts out. In this one, we were looking at that subject, how might we make remote teams feel closer? On the left over here, you can see we did some free brainstorming and we collected ideas. Let me just zoom in on that. So some of those ideas that Amelia and I were exploring are probably found here as well too. And you can include images as well too. Again, think about this as, you know, a rich multimedia experience here. You can add links and links and videos and images as well too. In the next step, I'll just move over here to the right. We did some clustering, and this clustering makes use of what we call areas. And let me just show you the area feature real quick. If I have these two sticky notes here, I'm looking at these yellow sticky notes, and I select both of them at the same time. And you can do that by holding down the Shift key. So if I hold down the Shift key and click on multiple elements, they'll be selected at the same time. So you can select multiple elements at once. Or I could do what's called a marquee select, and that's holding the Shift key down and then dragging across any group of elements. And you can see this blue box here lets me know what's going to be selected. So I just selected these two sticky notes, and then if I right-click, I can organize them into an area. So I can organize these two into an area. And now they're kind of in a bucket or a group that then kind of behaves as one thing. So you can see here, if I zoom out a little bit here, we grouped the ideas that we had brainstormed into different buckets. So humanize the workplace, play games, incorporate interpersonal activities, and so forth. So you can use this area feature to help organize your thoughts. So Mural is really about bringing a team together, getting all of your thoughts out digitally, which helps you work remotely, but then also organizing your thoughts and finding patterns. Again, that voting feature is one way to help the team do that. And down here in this Mural, we voted on the top ideas, and then we copied those sticky notes over here, and we recorded which ones got the most votes. We even did a little prioritization down here. So again, if I zoom all the way out again, you'll see that Mural is not just about doing one activity. It's actually about doing multiple steps of a method or a technique. In this case, we wanted to brainstorm, then do affinity clustering, and then vote as well too. You can see down here in the lower left, we have some links and PDFs that we uploaded as references and resources. So it's really about bringing the team together. You can see the photos of the team up here that did this brainstorming. It's about bringing the team together that may not be co-located in the same location and going through something visual and creative like a brainstorming session. In another example here, we have an experience map. This is an example of an experience map for going to the supermarket. In this case, we started with a brief stakeholder map. Who's involved? What are the key entities and actors who are involved, and how are they related? And from that, we were able to identify some key persona that we wanted to work towards. So we created this persona here for Jake, and Jake is going to go to the supermarket by bicycle. And here you see his experience of doing that here in an experience map or a journey map of sorts. At the top, we have some phases of interaction. So he prepares to go, then he travels to the store, shops, and so forth. And we were able to incorporate the steps and the feelings that he might have during that journey, as well as his pain points here as well too. So in this mural, you can see, in addition to all of that, we did what's called an empathy map exercise. But we were able to do multiple steps and actually go through these 4 steps. I just wanted to take a pause here on this empathy map because that brings up the topic of frameworks. There is one more option on the left-hand side that I didn't go over yet, and that's called the frameworks option. And this has some areas and grids and pre-formatted diagrams that you can drag out into a mural and get started really quickly. So if you wanted to do a quick prioritization on a 2x2 grid, you can bring this out, and then you have that background that you can then add sticky notes to. So if you bring these sticky notes on here, you'll see that they stick to the grid. We also have some frameworks for business activities like the business model canvas. I can bring that out, get started with that right away. Under the design tab, we have a persona framework. There's also an empathy map as well too. So you can bring this empathy map out and get started right away. So the framework section is great for getting started really, really quickly. So there's an assumptions grid, for instance. This feedback grid is great for a retrospective. You can just bring that out and get started right away. And that's what these empathy maps are here at the top of this one. So moving from brainstorming to experience mapping and models of the experience and things like that. We can also talk about things like, in another example, user story mapping. And this also makes use of persona, and you can see here the frameworks that we did. So in this exercise, we started by looking at the service that we were providing and who the actors might be using it, and then we created personas around those. In this case, it's for an instructor and a student. This is a homework application. And in software development, agile development, you break things down into what are called user stories. User stories are small chunks of functionality, very short descriptions of pieces of functionality, which is great for managing software development projects, but it also you lose the big picture kind of what you're building sometimes if you're only focused on an individual story. And what user story mapping does is it allows you to map the user journey here at the top, so you can see what the persona is actually doing when they're interacting with your service, moving from searching to viewing a list to viewing an item, and then to map the stories against that story. And that technique is called user story mapping. So we took stories from the backlog and we mapped them to the different phases of interaction that we created for the instructor in this case. We also did that for the student over here as well too. So you can see here with Mural, I'm zoomed all the way out here. You can tie together multiple steps of an exercise or an activity. In this case, doing user story mapping, where we started with persona, took all of the backlog of user stories, and then mapped them to a user journey. And you can create this together with your team. And if you're not sitting next to your team, you might be remote. You might have resources that are spread around the world. This is a great way to still work and think visually. Another example, we partnered with Jeff Gotthelf, the author of Lean UX, to do his workshop, his offline workshop, remotely with a group of people who were all remote. So we assembled a team of about 6 people, and we took them through his steps of Lean UX. And in this case, we had mapped out the different parts of his course, starting with the business outcomes, and the team brainstormed some of them, and then they clustered them here, and then they voted for them as well too. Then we moved to the next step, which was creating a persona, and then we looked at the user outcomes in step number 3, and in step number 4, we brainstormed features. So Mural is a great way to break things down and guide a team through the different steps. And in this case, we ended up generating hypotheses that match the color codes of those first 4 steps. So in order to achieve this business outcome for these users, so that they attain this outcome, we need these features. And that's a pattern that we can use to then generate hypothesis statements that can then be tested. So in the Lean, kind of the Lean school of thought, you're trying to look at your assumptions or generate hypotheses that are testable. And what we did here with Mural, again, is we broke down the Lean UX approach to doing that, set up a Mural to guide a remote team through that exercise. They could still work visual, they could still use sticky notes, in this case virtual sticky notes, and move through the exercise to be able to generate hypotheses. Just one more quick example, and this is an example of a template. So this isn't a completed mural, but this is what we call a wall of work, or a big wall of work. Sometimes people call these Kanban boards as well too, although this is slightly different. And what we've done is we've set up a template here where you can take a description of work that people are doing, whether it's user stories or projects or steps, phases of a project, and you can see how the team is progressing, moving from one stage to the next. And what we did here to create this one, we just simply used the shapes and text elements that are included in Mural, and we set that up. So wall of work, I'll just recreate that. So what we did is we took a title element here and put that here, and then you can lock that down. And you lock it down by right-clicking on it and then choose lock. So what we did was we used, again, the shapes and the arrows and the lines and the text elements built into Mural, and we took the whole Mural and set it up so that we had a flow here from left to right where we could add content to, and then you lock all of those elements down so the team can then work with sticky notes or whatever content they're adding on top of that. And then you can move these around from the different areas, from one area to the next area as you progress. So it's a great way to kind of track your progress as well too. So those are some examples. Thanks everyone for joining. What I wanted to do now is take some more questions. Amelia, were there any more questions?
Hi, Jim. Yeah, we have a couple of questions more. So one question from Sebastian is, how can I invite my team members to join a mural?
Great question. If you're in a mural, let's say we've created this wall of work template and we want to invite others, you'll see here in the upper right-hand corner, there's a share option. What you can do then is create what we call the share link. And you do need to use this share link. You can't send the URL from your browser, and that's for security reasons. You need to create this link, and then what you can do is you can either send this link around in an email, so all anybody needs to do to join the mural is get this link, or you could type their names in right in here as well too. So if I wanted to invite Amelia to this, I could enter her name in here, or her email address if it wasn't already in the system. In this case, she was already in the system, so it found her. But you can just type in an email address and then type a message here, and Mural will then invite them, so they'll get an email from Mural. So either using the share link here or entering names in here, you can invite people to a mural. And it's really as simple as that. Before I take another question, though, that brings up another topic that I wanted to get to that I didn't talk about, and that's the Mural Overview page. So far we've been looking at Mural as kind of the core application, the workspace that you'll be using to collaborate with your teammates. But if you go to the upper left, in the very upper left, there's a Go to My Murals option. If you click on that, what you get is an overview of all of your murals. So this is what we call the mural dashboard, and this is where you manage all of your murals. And you see here, you get thumbnails of all of the murals that you have access to. And these murals, and if I click on any of these, I'll go into that mural. So right now I'm kind of in the mural overview mode, where I'm looking at all of my murals, but I can go from any one of these into any one of these at this point in time. I can also manage those murals with what are called rooms, and on the left-hand side you'll see this column here on the left. It contains what we call rooms, and rooms are kind of like folders. So if I click on a different room, I'll see a different set of murals, or I could go to all murals here as well too, and now I'm seeing all of them. But rooms are a way to kind of manage and organize your murals as well too. There are private rooms and there are public rooms, or what we call team rooms here. And team rooms, anybody who belongs to a team can see the information in these rooms as long as they have permissions to do so. So the team is the top level in our hierarchy of murals here. So mural is the lowest level. Murals are organized into rooms. Rooms are organized by team. And you can belong to multiple teams. If you do belong to multiple teams, you can switch teams here as well too. And a team is really kind of, you think about that like an account, or the kind of the overarching organization structure for murals. So you have teams, rooms, and then murals. We also have permission settings at each one of those levels. So you can invite people to a team and give them certain permissions. Same with a room. You have private rooms and team rooms as well too. Private rooms are by invite only. And then with murals as well too, there are privacy settings. So I just wanted to mention that before I forgot, but let's go back to some questions. I'm going to jump back into this mural in case I have to demo anything.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a question here from Gary. He's wondering, if I want to invite people to my mural, how can I avoid that they move things around by accident if I set up a special structure?
Great question. I kind of hinted on that when I was looking at that wall of work. So if we have this team activities here, that's the name of this mural. And you can see when I zoom out, by the way, when I zoom out, you can still see this. So this is really large on purpose. Very often when you're creating a mural, you want these headers to be kind of extra large so that when you zoom out, you can still orient yourself. So here we see, number 1, how might we make remote teams feel closer? 2 is the prioritization, and then 3 is planning. And then this header is up here. But when I invite my team, they don't need to change that text or interact with it. So I don't want them to move that around by accident. Or to even worry about that. And what you can do is you can right-click on that element and then do what's called a lock. So if I lock that down, now it doesn't move, so it's kind of stuck to the background, and I can do that with this as well too. So I'll lock these elements down. So when you think about, or when you're preparing to interact with the team, to collaborate with the team, you can set up you take a mural and put a big header up here and put the steps that you want to bring the team through, and then you can lock those elements down. I can even lock this framework down. Oh, that's already locked. can lock this down, and then anything on top of that will kind of be the elements that people interact with, and that kind of floats on top of all of this. The other thing that you can do as well, too, one more shortcut, is if you hold the space bar down while you're zooming or panning, so I'm moving the mural around here left and right, and I'm holding the space bar down, that kind of freezes or locks everything down, so I can't move anything accidentally. You'll find when you collaborate with your teams that sometimes somebody will go to pan a mural by using their fingers, or in my case, I'm using my mouse, and they accidentally grab a note. So instead of panning, I actually start moving this note, or the background, or an area. And to prevent that, you can just hold down your Shift key, and you won't move anything at all. So locking things down and using the Shift key would be the two ways to prevent people from moving things accidentally. Let's go to another question.
Yes, we have a question from Anna here. She's wondering, how can I see who created a sticky note if I want to see whose idea that was?
Yeah, great question. There are two ways to do that. I'm just going to zoom in on this set of sticky notes here. The first way is if you want to see an individual element who created that. Again, if you right-click, so if you right-click on top of this sticky note, you'll see there's some options here, including that lock option I just talked about, or adding comment, which I showed earlier. But there's also a show info option here as well, too. And if I click on show info, it will show who added that sticky note. That seems to be there. I'll do that again. So it'll show who added it, their avatar, and when they added it. The other way to see who added a sticky note is up here in the upper right-hand corner. In the very upper right-hand corner, there's what's called the activity feed. And what this shows is, in reverse chronological order, what was added to the mural, deleted from a mural, and who did that as well, too. So I can see here, Amelia added this sticky note called low effort. And if I click on that, I'll zoom over to it, actually. So I just clicked on this low effort, and it zoomed over to that point in the mural. So this is great if you're working asynchronously, and you come into a mural, and you just want to see what happened while you were away. You can come in here, and this is a reverse chronological list. It just kind of continues scrolling. So I can see, oh, this image, let's click on this image, and then I zoom over to it. But I can also see that Amelia added that as well, too. So otherwise, everything is anonymous. You don't quite see who's adding what, or just by the sticky notes themselves, but that information is present, and you're able to see who added the content to the mural. I think we have time for another question or two.
Yes, we have a question here. How can I log out from Mural?
Yeah, that's a great question. If you go to the lower left, you'll have some user options, and I showed those account settings over here. By the way, we've also just added this What's New feature here, and this shows some new things that we're as we add new things to Mural, you'll find them here. But below that, there is a logout option. There's one exception for that, though. If you work for IBM, you won't have this sign out option, and there is a way to sign out. There's a special link that you can sign out from, but IBMers right now, unfortunately, don't have this sign out option. If you email either me or Amelia, that's jim@mural.co, or amelia@mural.co, and I'll just type my email address in there. So I just chatted that over. You should see that in your questions pane. You can email me, and we can send you that link if you work for IBM. But otherwise, it's in the lower left-hand corner.
Maybe you can show where the help section is as well, how you can contact customer support.
Exactly. So in the lower left, you have your account settings here with your avatar. If you don't have an avatar, it'll just show colored initials. So you may either have a picture or just some initials there. But right above that are some help options. So if you click on this question mark, what you'll see here are some quick how-to guides. And these link to a little demonstration of how to do some of the things. So you can see here zooming and panning. Adding sticky notes, how to add sticky notes by double-clicking. So there's a kind of a short tutorial, and this is good if you invite someone who's never used Mural before, so you're working on a team and you want to use Mural, but your colleague hasn't. Maybe you can ask them to just look at these things here, because these are kind of the key things that you need to know to to use Mural. We also have the keyboard shortcuts, so if I click on that, I get to these keyboard shortcuts. Again, you can do that by simply typing the question mark as well too, so this is another way to get there. But you can also contact us, the customer support, or go to our help center. I'll just click on that right now. It's going to open this up in another tab. And we do have some video tutorials here as well. So if you go to support.mural.ly, just go to support.mural.ly, and you'll see some getting started articles and videos, as well as some video tutorials here, and then kind of feature by feature, a list, a more detailed list of how Mural works as well too. But particularly these getting started content options and these video tutorials are very good to get an overview of Mural. Let's take one more question before we end, Amelia.
Okay. How might you copy text from sticky notes? We have a question here from a person who tried to do that, but it seems like they just copied a URL in the way they tried to do it. If you want to paste it in an email or another document afterwards.
Sure. There are a couple ways to do that. One is to just go into edit mode. And to go into edit mode, so I have this sticky note here. Let's just take this sticky note. I'll zoom right in on that. If I single click it and then hit enter, so I single clicked and hit enter, and now that text is highlighted. It's selected. I can edit it now. And if I just do Control C, so I'm going to do Control C for copy, and then move over to another document. Let's see. I need to start a new document real quick. I can just here. This is a Google Doc. And I do Control V. So you can see here it pasted that text in. It actually pulled across the background. I can paste it without the formatting as well too. So you can copy that text right from that sticky note. You can also use the copy as text feature here as well too. If you copy that text there using that feature and then paste in another document. So you should be able to access your text. If you just hit enter, you'll be in edit mode, and then you can even select part of that as you want. Do Control C to copy, and then do Control V to paste. In fact, I could even, if I wanted to, I could even paste in right into another sticky note. So there, I just put that fragment, that phrase from this sticky note into this sticky note. So Control C, Control V works to copy that text either from within a mural or across documents and platforms as well too. Great. So thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks for all your questions. Again, go to support.mural.ly for some help, or log in at mural.co. If you go to mural.co and log in, you can get started with your Mural account. We hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, you can contact either me, Jim, at mural.co, or Amelia at mural.co. And thanks, Amelia, for joining me and helping me collaborate and asking the questions.
Thank you for presenting the webinar, Jim.
Great. We'll be back next Thursday. We're here every Thursday at noon Eastern Time. That's 9 Pacific Time, or 5 p.m. in the UK, or 6 p.m. in Europe. We're here every week, and we do this demo. If your colleagues or your friends might benefit from this, please let them know. It's mural.co/weekly webinars. Mural.co/weekly webinars. They can sign up for free and get this free demo. We also post these on our YouTube channel as well too. So if you find the Mural YouTube channel, we'll post the recording of this session up there, and you'll find previous sessions as well too. So we hope you take advantage of some of those resources and let your friends know. And we'll be back. Here next week. So again, good luck using Mural. If you have any questions, let us know. But thanks everyone for joining. And with that, we'll end the webinar. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.